Hi, it's Matthew. This is Melanie. We're horticulturists at Tracy Aviary. Next spring, we're going to be planting some native shrubs and some native perennials around the Jordan River Nature Center, trying to beautify it and attract more wildlife. But before we do that, we've got to hike out, find some of those native shrubs, and collect seed off of them. So today we're going to go out looking for four-winged saltbrush and cliff rose. And at the end of this, hopefully you'll know a little bit about how to collect seed off of native plants and be able to do the same kind of thing to grow them for your yard. Hey, we found a four-winged saltbrush! Woo! After our little hike out here, four-winged saltbrush has this lovely evergreen, well, ever-gray, kind of ever-bluish gray-green foliage. Tough little sausagey leaves, provides all kinds of forage for animals that come and chew these leaves off. And this is one of the toughest shrubs you can possibly grow in Utah, adapted to real tough dry conditions. And it's looking great even after the dry summer we've had here in Salt Lake. So we have to find some seeds, and like the name would imply, four-winged saltbrush has seeds that look like this. They've got four little wings on the edge of every single seed, and that's what we're after today. So typically we collect seed into cloth bags or paper bags because you want to let the seed continue to dry out while it's in your bag. After they're nice and dry and cleaned, you can store them in a Ziploc baggie for the next couple of years or until you get to use them. So we're gonna strip off some seed here and stuff it into the bag. So we would rub the seeds in a sieve to try and clear off as much chaff as you can, so you can work with just the seed when you're planting it out, because that's going to help it to grow healthy and not be interfered with all the chaff. So a lot of people ask us, how do you tell if the seed is ripe and ready to pick? And one good way to tell is if it's at its natural dispersal stage. So if you rub up against it and the seeds start falling off naturally, that's a good indication that it's ready to be collected. We also will do something called the cut test, where we'll take a knife and cut the seed in half. And when you look inside, it shouldn't be wet and green, it should be hard and dry, kind of like dry bread dough on the counter. All right, everybody, so we found our cliff rose. This is a great example of the seeds here. One thing I want to mention though is when you do pick the seeds of the cliff rose, sometimes the seed can be hollow, whether it was eaten by an insect or it was never pollinated and didn't develop properly. So breaking the seed in half and checking to make sure that there's some meat in there will help you understand if it's viable or not. Imagine breaking into a sunflower seed, like what you eat, and you want to see that same kind of healthy tissue inside, not like the sunflower seeds you break open and they're empty.
Right, so this cliff rose actually does have one of its flowers. It's a little late for it. Most of the flowers came in the summertime. Cliff rose, as the name implies, is actually in Rosaceae, the rose family. So when you look closely at the flower, it does look like a very simplistic, small, yellowish white rose. What's interesting about the cliff rose is that the seed is this little chunky guy at the base. It's got a little fuzzy tail on it, and that purpose of that is for the wind to catch it and blow it further away from the parent plant. So when you're looking to collect cliff rose seeds, you want them to have a nice healthy long tail. That means that the seed itself is very healthy as well.
I can't stress enough how important it is to label your bags and keep track of the location you collected it, the date you collected it, and the species. Because as much as you think you're going to remember,
you're not.
No. Our next step is going to be to clean the seed a little bit by rubbing it across a sieve, and then we're going to seed these into pots of soil and let them stay outside all winter. A lot of seeds require a cold and wet winter to trigger their germination in the spring. So these seeds will go into some pots. Winter will happen to them outside, And when it warms up in the spring, we'll have some little baby cliff roses to use in revegetation projects. You know, it is always important to get permissions to collect seed from the land management of that area. And you're in charge of the Jordan River Nature Center. Are you okay if we collect these seeds?
Yes.
Fantastic, thanks. Also, always remember to leave some of the seed to regenerate the plants and for the wildlife.
The aviary is a great place to stop by and see if there's any seeds that you'd like to collect. But first step would be to let us know that you're going to be doing that by emailing us at horticulture@tracyaviary.org.